everybody. So it's officially the end of another month, meaning it is time for another end of the month movie ranking. Now, I ended up watching 5 new movies this month. This is mainly because I did a lot of rewatching for another video coming up, and I had a lot of time working on school assignments for the summer, so I only had time for 5 new movies. 3 were new theater releases and 2 were just first watches for me. But with that being said, let's talk about what I watched this month. And at number 5, I have the original Wrong Turn movie. This tells the story of a boy who takes a wrong turn, who ends up joining a group of friends who he pairs up with, and they find out they took a very wrong turn. Now, why I have this video, so I am currently trying to film this video right now, and my cat, who rarely ever gets my lap, has decided that this is a perfect time to get my lap. And my tripod is right over there. So this is what a typical night looks like owning a cat. At the very bottom isn't because it's a bad movie. I would say it's not a really bad movie. It does follow in the footsteps of a few certain stereotypes, but I enjoy this movie for what it is. The stereotypes are not as bad as I expect a movie like this to be, but it is one of the more forgettable movies that I've watched this month. Now, I haven't seen the rest of the franchise, but I think this is a pretty solid, standard horror film. And at number 4, I have Megan 2.0. Now, this was the newest movie that came out that follows the events after the first film in Megan. And there are a handful of things I like about this one. I like the characters of Gemma and Katie a lot more in this one. I did find some of it funny and the other half not funny. Wasn't really a big fan of the ending at all. The ending felt really cheap to me. But this is more of an action than it is horror, so I do keep that in mind when I talk about this movie in particular, because I do think it is a solid action comedy movie, but as a horror film, it is really not a horror film at all. And number 3 is 28 Years Later, and this tells the story of the 3rd movie of the 28 Days Later franchise. And it follows the story of a boy trying to help his mother in this madness. Now, there are a handful of things I like about this movie. I do like the main character we get and his story. There's also a really heartfelt moment in this film as well when it comes to the mother's sickness. But there are a couple things holding this back, because a lot of what they're going to do is, this movie is set up for a sequel, if that makes sense. And depending on what they do with the sequel we get in January depends on how I really feel about this movie and how they plan things out. So right now it is more of I had a good time with it, I did enjoy it, but I do recognize that a lot of it is going to change with how they handle things in the future. At number 2, I have Dangerous Animals. No, word, I'm not talking about you. Dangerous Animals is a shark serial killer movie. Now, this has my name written right on it for this kind of movie. I do enjoy series like Criminal Minds. I'm a huge fan of Criminal Minds, not much big fan of their storyline now, but I do enjoy the overall things it does. And I do enjoy the story of this one, and I do like our main final girl in this one, but I was really not a big fan of the choice to have her and the guy be romantic interest. I would prefer it if they kept platonic friends, and that is a real big drawback for me because I just don't like that part of it. So the believability of her, the length she wants to go to help, I understand you don't want someone to die, but it's just, they would have done better if they played off as friends. But I still do think it is a pretty good shark movie. And that leaves at number 1. This is a 1973 French vampire film that tells the story of a boy who has forgotten part of his childhood, and he only remembers a certain thing, but he just can't find his way back. Now, I am slowly getting into more foreign films, and I am slowly more getting used to how different they are from American films. And having seen a few French films, one thing that really didn't catch me as off guard this time was the use of nudity in this one. It is quite a theme, and I understand that is in foreign films. I understand that, and I'm slightly becoming more comfortable the more I kind of watch these films and recognize that this is a familiar thing. But that being said, I think the story for this one is pretty straight up, and I do like the vampires in this one and the story they go and how they try to make the villain of it all in the center. But where this movie loses me a little bit here is just going to be kind of where things end, because it shows a love story between, he was like 10 or 12 and got lost, right? And this very adult teenager, I think she said she was 15 or 16, and she kind of stayed that age, and he kind of always longed for her, and that with the ending never fully worked for me. If they would have like made them, she found out and he didn't kill her, it would have worked out for me better. But I didn't really like the whole romance aspect, flying out to sea aspect of this movie. But I do think in general it is a good, decent French horror film. I'm still getting new to the genre, so do keep that in mind when I'm talking about this one, but I still think it is a decent one. And that concludes the end of the month movie ranking. Now, this was a decent month for horror. A lot of decent movies, not really any bad ones this time period around. But let me know if you saw any of these movies, maybe some new movies that you saw this month. And I will see you guys soon with a brand new video, and you may even get Oreo visiting the video again.